Ted looked up at Peter as he came jogging in. Get down, Ted whispered through his teeth. Get down. Welcome back to the basement, the friendliest place on YouTube. It's time for more You Choose How We Play Breath of the Wild. Today we're choosing to read some more of Chi Panda's story, and we're going to hunt down some Korok seeds. Isn't that right, Ted?
That's totally right.
Okay, here we go. It's a beautiful day for some Breath of the Wild right here in the basement. Today, we're going to be getting some Koroks. We've had a wonderful comment from Tim Proctor, peppered over the span of several months, every once in a while, once a week, once every other week. Next, in his latest, next episode, please do a Shrine or a Korok episode and talk about the King of Cards. Okay, so, and also we're doing a bunch of Chi Panda story today. So here's what's going on in the episode. Ted's gonna go Korok seed hunting.
And look, I found a fairy too, so we're gonna do this as long as we're here.
Don't you need 10,000 rupees?
Shoot. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Let's just double check.
And we will talk a bit about the King of Cards, which is the final campaign of the Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. But mostly we're going to be reading Chi Panda's story while we hunt down a bunch of Korok seeds.
I am super excited about that Treasure Trove, though.
Thank you.
About that game. It's going to be so much fun to finally have the final installment.
So thank you, Tim Proctor, for the suggestion. And really, we've been seeing your comments, and now we're finally having a chance to do it. But yeah, Shovel Knight. We've played. Shovel Knight is an awesome game by Yacht Club Games. It's like a high pixel 2D platformer retro style.
Yep.
And we played Shovel Knight co-op on the channel. We also played the next two campaigns, which were Spectre of Torment and Plague of Shadows, which were both awesome. We got to play it. Your main character is two of the bosses of the original Shovel Knight campaign. And this last one is a third boss from the original Shovel Knight campaign, the King Knight. Yeah, yes. And he's all regal and like, oh no.
The decadent dandy.
Oh, no. And it looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. It doesn't come out until April of 2019, but
they keep pushing that back.
You can rest assured. Well, I think that's the final pushback, because they said they wanted to release it on all platforms simultaneously. Spectre of Torment came out on the Nintendo Switch first. It was a timed exclusive.
Oh my gosh. Are you going to come down to where I can grab you, fairy?
Oh. That's a very elusive creature right there. We're spending a very long time trying to get it.
Yes, I agree.
Are you going to jump and get it? Oh!
Nope, scared it away.
You almost got it. That was pretty close. Yeah, it despawned.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Oh, well, I got one.
I do not blame you for that. I think you
Time for getting Koroks. You're totally right. We need 10,000 rupees for that fairy. Never mind. Ain't happening.
Ain't happening. That's going to take a lot of grinding off screen, and then you'll be like, okay, we're going to get the fairy, but first I'm going to stop by here and gamble a bunch, and then we'll be down to...
Yeah, because you know me. I'm a gambler.
Problem. No, not really, but what you'll do is, like... In gaming, you'll be like, oh, I'm saying this mostly because earlier tonight in Link to the Past, you kept buying that 100 rupee bomb and exploding it inappropriately.
I did explode it in very inappropriate ways.
Listen, there are appropriate ways to explode bombs, and there are inappropriate ways to explode bombs. So last time we were reading Chi Panda's story about Danny the Two and Peter and Ted of the Basement, as well as maybe some other characters. We were faced with the cliffhanger. I'm going to back up a paragraph to make sure we get it.
I'm so excited for more of the story. And check it out, I got my Korok mask, and I've got my Tingle shirt.
Something about blacked out, right?
Yes.
The friendliest place on YouTube. Oh, no, that's not it. Peter crawled into bed, soon he drifted into unconsciousness. Oh, I was just sleeping. This is episode 1. My bad. Entered the game. Let's see, we want page 3. Here we go. Okay. Are you finished with your character customizations? I think we're done, replied Peter. Okay, so Peter and Ted just entered the game to battle She that Danny traveled from a different timeline to warn us about.
Yes.
And Titan Tech and all that.
Epic.
Good. Now I will take aspects of your lives by entering your neurological systems to create a unique campaign experience.
Wow.
What in the world did that mean? Questioned Ted. Peter clarified. I think She means that it is going to use everything in our heads to make a game unique to our brains. I don't think I want my brain invaded by... Ted's statement was cut off by the feeling of something foreign going through his brain.
Ugh, gross.
Ted was able to glance at Peter, who was experiencing the same feeling he was before they both blacked out.
Blacked out?
Okay, that's where we were last time we were reading from the story, so picking up from there now. Peter smelled the fresh air and heard the birds chirping. He suddenly snapped into full consciousness and quickly sat up, coughing.
Whoa, calm down.
When he recovered from his cough, he noticed the beautiful forest surrounding him. Peter sat in awe, taking in the full panoramic view before him. He breathed in the air and took a deep sigh. He placed his hand on the ground and ran his fingers through the soft, green grass. This is quite the virtual reality environment we find ourselves in. The sun illuminated the green leaves of the large trees that stretched into the horizon. The canopy that hovered over Peter's head provided shade and made Peter feel cool. It wasn't the first time.
Peter feels cool every day.
Oh.
Is
Hey,
that a SpongeBob
my
laugh?
mom says I'm cool. Your mom says I'm cool. Only when we're having lunch. Peter remembered his friend. He began looking around and saw Ted laying in the grass to his left. Peter stood up and ran to his friend. He knelt next to him and gently shook him. Ted. Ted, wake up.
Ted.
Can you imagine me doing that?
You guys, he actually just like tenderly,
Touched his arm.
gingerly grabbed my shoulder with two hands and just kind of, it was a light jiggle.
A little push there.
Little nudge. A little nudgeroo.
Ted groaned and rolled over on his back, rubbing his eyes with his forearm. With his fists. Ted opened his eyes and immediately made a confused face. He stood up and looked around furiously. What's going on? Ted demanded. Peter began to prepare an answer, but he realized that he had no answer. Peter began to look around too, questioning where and why they were in a forest. Peter noticed what he was wearing. I like that you were observant to question what was going on, and I was just like, oh, the grass is soft.
That's totally opposite of how we would probably...
Well, I don't know, though.
I'd be like, ooh, the grass is soft. You're like, Ted, where are we?
Ted, well, let's figure out what's going on here.
Where are we and why are we?
Just take a moment to run your fingers through the grass. Ted.
Wake up and feel the coffee.
Peter began to look around, too. Why they were in a forest. Peter noticed what he was wearing. Ted, look at what you're wearing. Ted looked at his torso and arms. Peter continued, it's our clothes. It's what we chose to look like in the customizer.
Whoa.
Wait, Ted began. So, this is the game. I guess so. After absorbing the sights around them, Peter stood to his feet and outstretched his hand to help Ted up. What's nice, Chi, about your writing here is that you took your time. Because you could just black out and wake up in the game and be like, they
And
looked
then
around
there's
and
she.
realized they must have been in the game. But like, there were details and realizations and conversations and personalities.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Pretty good. After absorbing the sights around them, Peter stood to his feet and outstretched his hand to help Ted up. What are we supposed to do? Asked Ted. I have no idea. Look, over there. Ted started running off into the trees, and Peter had no choice but to follow after him, wondering what Ted was doing. This feels a little more like our personalities. Peter ran through the trees until finally catching up Ted, who was standing in the midst of a dirt road that stretched through the forest and into the horizon. Ted stood ashamed that Peter was tired after sprinting only a short distance. Huh. Why'd you just dart off like that? Because I saw this road. And look, there's a signpost. Ted wandered toward the wooden signpost at the side of the road. Ted adjusted his goggles around his head and examined the words carved into the wood. I think if we both ran somewhere, we'd both be short of breath.
Agreed.
Lars Ranch and Friendlander, south. Lars Ranch and Friendlander, south. Ted read. I read it twice because I wanted to say it again. It's only written once. What's going on here? Peter said, walking up behind Ted to see what his friend was so interested in. Ted moved to the side so that Peter could examine the signpost fully and looked down the road. It says that there is a ranch and a place called, looking back at the sign to make sure he was correct, Friendlander, to the south of our location. Hey, we did have to repeat it. What in the world is Friendlander? Peter, don't you mean where is Friendlander? Ted responded sarcastically. Friendlander is obviously a village south of our location. If we're gonna get anywhere in this game, we have to talk to some NPCs. And where do you find NPCs? In villages, that's where. Wow, Ted.
And liberal news stations. I'm just kidding. NPC meme, guys. Anybody?
Yeah. Hey, stop bringing that up.
I'm sorry. I just thought it was funny because we're talking about NPCs, and I don't know if that was actually like a thing yet. When she probably not. Wasn't even a meme when she was writing this.
I think this next part is sarcastic. Wow, Ted, I'm glad I decided to bring you along. Peter reached his hand out, adjusting Ted's cape, and wiped some dust off his shoulder. Peter stood staring at a confused Ted. Ted stood awkwardly looking at Peter, occasionally glancing away before snapping back to locking with Peter's eyes. Peter continued to hold a straight face despite realizing how awkward the scenario was. Peter cracked a smirk, causing the two to laugh. Ted lightly punched Peter in the shoulder and pushed him back. Recovering from his laugh, Ted nodded toward the road in the south and said, "Come on, Peter, let's get moving."
Time to keep moving.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, it did it.
We played one episode of Blast Corps on the Nintendo 64.
It's a game none of you have ever heard
ago.
of. Unless you watched that specific episode, because I'd never heard of it.
Time to get moving is a part of the game. All right. Break into the paragraph break here with a couple lines. Some time has gone by. Did you find any Koroks yet?
I found none. Nope.
Really?
Well, I mean, my mask was going crazy at one point, but then I lost it because I found a shrine. So that's good.
Wait, your mask goes crazy when you find a shrine?
No, my mask went crazy, but then also the shrine detector was going crazy.
All right, well, we're 12 to 15 minutes in.
Oh, gosh, I haven't found a single Korok. This mask is useless.
But we did talk. You want to tell us a little bit more about your thoughts on King of Cards? I've seen some gameplay stuff, but I don't really remember. It just looks amazing, like everything they do.
This is so dumb.
Why don't you raviolis Gale?
I did twice.
Did you remember the episode
as far as I got?
Where we climbed and fell and climbed and fell, and then we ditched the beginning of the episode and started it over, and we're like, ugh. Right at the beginning, we had 20 minutes worth of exasperation.
This is reminding me of that right now.
Time to get climbing.
Because we don't have any stamina meals or anything.
Dude, yeah, just go for a little jog on this precarious slant. That'll get your stams back. That's what I do in real life. I just jump out on the roof of my house and run side to side, and suddenly I've got all the stamina in the world.
Whoa.
Why'd you fall?
I don't know. I just did. It's because I'm trying to, like...
You know what's going to happen is you're going to get real close. It's going to rain. Dude, you got to start with full stamina.
I was trying.
You're not going to make it.
Wow, this is way too sheer to do that runny thing.
You should have your climbing gear on.
Of course, Peter, you didn't get any stamina meals. I'm just kidding. Like,
well,
it's
you're
your
right.
fault.
It's true. Welcome back to Funny Moments in the Basement.
Okay. I'm gonna go this way to get to
Ted
Koroks.
and Peter walked slowly down the dirt road and admired the beautiful greenery surrounding them. Wow, this game is unbelievably beautiful, Ted said, his eyes lit up by the sun. It is, Peter agreed. The coolest thing about it is that this world is not made by computer-generated graphics. Instead, it's like a dream. It all feels real and created from our minds with the help of Chi.
Well, crazy. So the game isn't generated by computers. It's actually generated by the mind.
And, well, so you and I would be seeing a different scenery then, wouldn't we?
Weird. Maybe. Maybe it's like it projects our, like, maybe it connects our minds together, you know?
That would be interesting.
Yeah. You sound enthused.
I like to be totally silent while you sneeze so that everybody knows exactly what your sneeze sounds like.
Gosh, it's so frustrating.
He sneezed into his shirt. Right into the old shirt. Okay, let's see. It all feels real and created from our minds with the help of Chi, of course. What do you think Friendlander will be like? What will the NPCs be like? What will our quest be? I don't know. Well, if this game is created through our collective minds, oh, there's the answer. I guess it will look what you think, or what we think.
We were analyzing the logistics of this story too soon.
What do you mean? Like, think of it as if you, Chi, and I all sat at a table and discussed the game's design. So it is made by us just as much as it is by Chi. That's a pretty cool concept. Well, what do I know? I have no idea what's going on.
What was that, me who said that?
I don't know. I think it was me. Ted was about to make a funny comment to Peter when he was interrupted by the howl of something in pain. Every once in a while in books, I kind of wish they would use different fonts for the different characters if there's a dialogue. Because I've definitely had it where I'm reading a book.
And you lose track of who's saying what.
Yeah, and so I'll stop and count back like every other to try to get to the last so-and-so said, you know? And then I want to try to highlight them in my mind. But this doesn't really suffer from that. We're just reading it a little disjointedly. Ted was about to make a funny comment to Peter when he was interrupted by the howl of something in pain. Ted and Peter stopped in their tracks and looked into the trees where the sound had come from. What was that? Peter questioned with a shocked face.
Is it parkour?
Ted looked at Peter before looking into the trees and ran off toward the origin of the sound. Ted, what the... Ugh, here we go again. Peter jogged into the trees after Ted. Peter found Ted crouched behind a rock. Ted looked up at Peter as he came jogging in. Get down, Ted whispered through his teeth. Get down! Peter was about to question him before immediately seeing the red glow of a fire up ahead. Peter quickly dropped and joined Ted behind the rock. The two men heard the origin of the howl right over their rock by the fire. A voice was heard. Oh, Korok, I've burned meself. I ain't never gonna make a good stew without nearly burning me bloody hand off. Peter and Ted were thoroughly confused by what their ears had just encountered, so they both quietly peeked the tip of their eyes over the rock. What they witnessed was a horrid sight. The origin of the howl and the strange voice was a little green goblin. Its eyes were crooked, its ears were large and pointed, and it wore nothing but cloth wrapped around its waist.
It's Dobby!
I was trying to think of who I could make fun of that it could be.
That sounds a lot like Dobby to me.
Sounds like Sarah Jessica Parker to me.
What?
It had very little hair on his body.
Yep.
Only on parts of its body, like the ears, feet, and armpits.
Yep. Sarah Jessica
SJP,
Parker.
all right.
That's JP.
I call her Sarah Jessica for short.
Sarjespar.
Sarah Jessica.
Oh my gosh.
Worst
I've never actually
Korok
gone
hunt ever.
I've never really gone looking for Koroks before.
Follow the road. Use your Master Cycle Zero.
Okay. This is so terrible. I figured using the mask would make it easier, and the fact that there's, like 900 of them, the chances of me finding a spot where there's clearly a Korok.
Oh, well, we're up to 880. I found a bunch off camera, so maybe that's why you're having trouble finding it.
Oh, probably.
JK Basement Dwellers. I hope the microphone picked that up.
Nope.
Just your nose.
Whee!
The goblin danced around its fire, holding its hand and cringing in pain. It stopped moving, sucked on its finger, and shook it in the air. Where's me spoon? The goblin said as it looked around.
I like this character.
Oh! The goblin reached down the back of the cloth around its waist and pulled out a wooden ladle. There we are. There we are!
A wooden ladle?
It shuffled back over to its fire and inserted its ladle into the pot of soup hanging over the fire. It pulled out a spoonful of multicolored goop and took a sip. Oi, hey, lovely jubbly that is. Now I just need to add me key ingredient. It waddled over to a sack on a rock and pulled a small turtle from it. The turtle squirmed in the goblin's hands and nipped at its fingers. Oi, don't bite me, you cheeky booger. I've never tried turtle stew before. I wonder if it'll be tasty. Without much thought of future consequences, Ted jumped up behind the rock and got the goblin's full attention. Peter was stunned by Ted's rash actions and pulled on Ted's pant leg to get him down. Instead, Ted reached down and pulled Peter up by the strap of his torso. After Peter was up, Ted returned back to looking at a confused goblin. Sometimes you need me to pull you down into a caution and safety, but sometimes I need you to pull me up into adventure and doing the right thing.
And a goblin.
After that goblin starts his meal, he's going to be a goblin. Mr. Guy, one of us says. Me name's Tom, mate. Oh, thanks. My friend and I cannot allow you to cook that poor turtle alive. Why? Is you gonna make me?
I found one!
Ted looked around and... yeah, haha, you found one.
20 minutes in.
Ted
Wow,
looked
we have
around
44.
until he saw a stick on the floor and picked it up. Yes, I will make you. Ted waved his stick as if he held a blade. Ted, this isn't a good idea, Peter warned. Before he could hold Ted back, Ted was already approaching the goblin. It's funny, the sentences like that I can read really in character, because it's exactly me. This isn't a good idea. Tom, still holding the turtle in his left hand, pulled a dagger from his side with his right hand and grinned. Ted immediately stopped in his tracks, realizing his foe had a much better weapon than he did. Tom lunged at Ted and knocked them both to the ground.
Whoa, it's a bad guy?
Ted struggled to keep Tom's dagger from reaching his face. The dagger only got closer and closer. Suddenly, Peter threw a stone at Tom's head. Tom's body rolled off of Ted's, and the turtle and the dagger fell free onto the dirt. Tom recovered with a bloody head and tried to run for the dagger. Ted snatched the dagger and pointed it at Tom. Tom stopped his attack and backed off.
Oh!
Go! Get out of here! Demanded Ted. Tom took one look at the forest and another at Ted before sprinting into the trees.
I wonder if he's going to show back up.
Maybe. Peter came over to help make sure Ted was all right. I've been trying to think as I read, do we know any Toms? Have we met any Toms like in YouTube or talked about them that she would know about? Or is that just a name? I can't think of one. Are you okay, Ted? Yeah, I'm good. You really saved my neck there. Yeah, well, I couldn't let you die, could I? What compelled you to attack a goblin like that?
He was ugly and I'm a racist.
Wow, that's not race, it's like speciesism.
I'm a speciest.
This guy, Ted dropped Tom's dagger and knelt down to see a scared little turtle hidden in its shell.
Oh.
Ted lifted him off the ground. Ted stroked its back and told it everything was okay. It poked its head out of its shell and checked to see if the coast was clear.
Turtle.
It turned its head and looked at Ted. Ted continued to comfort it. The turtle embraced Ted, completely coming out of its shell and rolling around in his hands.
Aw, I really caused the turtle to come out of his shell.
What's your name, little guy? Do you have one? Ted asked the turtle. Excuse me. The turtle began to make faint noises.
You alright?
No.
Are you having that thing that I had in the last episode of this?
I need a drink
Where like
of water.
all of a sudden like my lung just had like something dry and pokey in it?
Oh, it feels more like a throat thing.
Oh gosh.
What's your name, little guy? Do you have one? Ted asked the turtle. The turtle began to make faint noises of comfort and love. It says K-R-R-L. That's the noise. Carl? Is that your name? I'll call him Carl. He is really cute, Peter said, realizing that saving its life wasn't as much of a rash idea as he thought. Peter looked at his surroundings and the sky. He nudged Ted, who was entranced by his new friend in his hands. Ted! Ted! Ted broke from his trance and gave Peter his attention. What? The sun's going down. Peter pointed through the canopy at the purple sky. So, nighttime happens. Ted, I don't want to travel in the night. We just encountered a goblin. I don't want to know what roams the forest in the darkness.
Good call, Peter.
I'm so poetic. What
I don't
roams the forest in the darkness?
I don't really want to know what roams the forest in the bleak dark.
Now is the winter of our discontent. At that exact moment, the howl of a wolf echoed through the forest and hit Peter and Ted's ears. The two men were startled and looked around them.
Wait, so there was a turtle and a wolf?
And a goblin.
Well, I don't know who the goblin is, but I mean, there's a melly wolf, and there's a turtle, and like there's a few different.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe these are different characters. I don't know.
So do you see what I mean? Yeah, I guess you have a valid point. Let's camp here tonight. Peter reached into the dirt and picked up Tom's dagger and Ted's stick. He handed the stick to Ted and kept the dagger for himself. Yeah. Really? Ted said, annoyed at Peter, who was making fun of Ted's choice of weapon. Hey, do you see any other daggers around here? No. All right, let's get some rest. One can sleep for 30 minutes and the other can keep watch. Then we'll alternate. Okay, what about food? Well, our only options are the goop Tom made or Carl. Ted gasped and held Carl tight to his chest. And I know you don't want to eat that soup, so we can eat when we get to the village. Hold on, we're actually hungry in a game. That's awesome. Oh,
I don't know if it's awesome. I don't like being hungry.
But it's kind of awesome.
That is kind of cool.
Dude, I saw, and aside from the story for a moment, I saw a treadmill. Is that what they're called? That exercise equipment?
Yeah.
That went in all directions.
Yes.
And
I've heard of this.
You could, can you imagine virtual reality where you're walking and you turn and you, you actually literally run from a horde of zombies and you, turn and dodge around stuff and then your body is moving in real life to turn and run?
Yeah.
Hey, another Korok.
Yeah, I found 4 now.
You've got the Vision, VR mask on or whatever. That would be really immersive. That would be cool.
There's a place in Otsego that I'm actually doing an advertisement for. It's a virtual reality studio or arcade. Virtual reality arcade, and he's got.
Did you tell me about this?
Yeah, I think I did. He's got 5.
Rings a bell.
5 Oculus Rifts.
Oh yeah.
And they can all link up together and play multiplayer games and stuff like that. And some of them are really spooky and scary. And I got to go and try some for free.
Ooh.
And when I shoot the commercial, I actually need people to come and play. So
that's
Peter,
what you told me about.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to come.
Oh
and
my
maybe
gosh!
we could get,
Yes,
Kelsey
please,
and stuff.
Please.
And we could.
Kelsey will not participate. Absolutely not. It will make her nauseous and upset, and she will crumple to the ground.
Perfect. Okay. Cool.
But she would be willing if she could actually literally handle it, and I really don't think she could.
It does make me a little sick to my stomach too, and I've been doing it for too long. But
yeah,
so I can understand that. But anyway, I figured I'd throw that out there for you. But one of the cool things is when I was talking to him, he's like, "Yeah, one of the things that I'm gonna be getting here soon is that new thing that they are coming out with in China. That's the
treadmill.
The treadmill.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my
he's thinking
gosh.
about getting that for his stations, so we could do the walk around thing.
Dude, I would totally try that. Oh my gosh, that would be cool. Can you imagine, even just a simple, Minecraft, just to turn and look west and to look east, and then to walk or run, do little hops, to get, or maybe I would probably turn auto jump on, honestly.
Yeah, so you didn't have to jump all the time.
So hungry in a game, that's awesome. Yeah, that is awesome. Wow, this game keeps amazing me. Anyway, let's get some rest. I'll stand watch first. That's me talking. All right. Ted laid down by the fire and held Carl close to his chest.
Oh, I've got a cute little pet turtle now.
Carl snuggled up to Ted and sighed and closed his eyes as the moon rose higher into the sky. And maybe next time in the basement.
Whoa, really?
I mean, yeah. It had been a while before it had been a while. How do I...
Been a while.
Been a while, so far away.
That's about perfect.
Yeah, I think we're pushing the 30 mark. We're in the high 20s right now.
Wow.
So, Basement Dwellers, you want more Chi Panda story? Let us know. You want more Korok hunting or a shrine episode? Are you planning on getting King of Cards, the final Shovel Knight campaign on whatever platform of choice? Let us know in the comments below.
Please do.
And tell us all sorts of crazy stuff you can think of that you want us to do here in You Choose How We Play Breath of the Wild. And until next time, Basement Dwellers, we think that you are more of a famous person fading into obscurity than...
Rosie O'Donnell's left foot was very famous, starting to fade into obscurity in the basement.
A very important part of how the basement is able to bring you the content that we do daily is our wonderful YouTube sponsors and Patreon patrons listed on the screen now.
If you would like to join this amazing group of people who are helping the basement to make even more content and do even more streams, you can go ahead and click the link in the description or on the screen right now. And we'd love to have you join us in making the basement not just the friendliest place on YouTube, but the most awesome place on the planet.
In our solar system.
In our universe.
In the basement.